Magneto and Hypnotic arrived back at the warehouse which the Brotherhood called home. Magneto disliked this place, but he was forced to keep a low profile due to his low popularity with the X-Men and the general populace. He ducked under the door and allowed his cape to billow out behind him. This appealed to the slight showman in him because it always meant he entered with a flourish. Hypnotic shuffled in behind her red-armored leader and moved quietly to Mystique's side. Although she wasn't afraid of anyone, Hypnotic found Magneto's own power terrifying, that coupled with his icy stare sent shivers down her spine anytime the self-proclaimed Lord of Magnetism looked in her direction. Meline just walked into Professor Xavier's office without knocking. She was amazed to see Rogue and the professor already sitting patiently waiting for her. "Come in and have a seat, Meline." Professor X smiled warmly. "Why do I feel like I have walked into a conspiracy?" Meline thought desperately, not wanting to speak. "There's no conspiracy, Meline, but I'm afraid until I have had Jean and Storm look at you there isn't much I can do." "Meline, I'm really sorry I forced you to wear diapers at school. I have told the professor everything as far as I know it, but we need you to fill in the blanks." Turning to look at the professor, Meline thought at him. "I can't talk. Mystique has had Hypnotic hypnotize me. Please take a seat, Meline." The professor motioned with his hands to the chair in front of his desk beside Rogue. Meline moved to the seat and sat in it gingerly. Holding onto the armrests, she held herself above the seat, trying not to sit on it. "Why, is there something wrong?" Rogue asked, her guilt seeping through her words. "Meline, please, we need to see this if we are to help you," Professor X said, leaning across his desk. Meline sighed and let go of the armrests. When she hit the ground, she let out a small yelp that caused her to blush. "Okay, Meline, I need to probe your mind to see if I can destroy the hypnotic suggestions in your brain. Please lie back on the couch." At the Brotherhood's warehouse, Avalanche suddenly started yelling to get Mystique. Rogue and the professor both stood over Meline. "Could you help her to stay on the couch, please, Rogue?" the professor said, trying to make the request sound as eloquent as possible. Mystique shouted to Summon. "Get Meline and the person closest to her in here now," she yelled, baring her teeth at the thought reader. Summon a part of her power that was very powerful and very dangerous. The professor could only watch helpless as a cloud of thick, acrid-smelling smoke enveloped the two girls on the sofa. Once it had cleared, the girls had disappeared. "What's Rogue doing here?" Toad yelled at Mystique. "I don't care. Summon, put these babies in a playpen, will you?" Mystique said quietly, trying to look calm to keep her disciples calm. Meline and Rogue were suddenly trapped in a wire mesh cube 12 meters in length. There were 4 thick black supports to keep the shape of the cube, but there were no joins, no obvious exit points from the cube. "We're trapped, Sugar," Rogue said, rising to her feet. "You'll all be sorry once the X-Men get here." Hypnotic shut her up, Mystique said, recovering from the initial shock of the failure. Hypnotic moved over to Rogue. "I hope you have some spare diapers handy."